Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Rhett.
And I'm Link. This week at the Round Table of Dim Lighting, I'm speaking in a lower register because I'm sick, man.
I feel like I should have a mask on. I
think you should too, dude. I mean,
I'm trapped in a small room with you.
well, it's not the bubonic plague, it's just a cold, but I mean.
Might as well be, man.
I don't want you to get it.
Colds are horrible.
I had to lay out this morning.
You went
by the pool.
sunbathing?
No. I had to lay out of work, man. You didn't notice me missing?
Oh, you know what? I got so much done.
So I just came in here.
Just trying to figure that out.
Just to do this. Today we're gonna be talking about, what's the question? Man, this is not a good sign for me.
Should the 90s.
My voice is sounding low and my brain is not on go. It's gotta go into D.
That's
I'm
why
gonna
there's
switch
two
it
of
into
us.
D. Drive.
Should the 90s come back?
Should the 90s come back? Lando gave me this cold, man. And I'm like, I got home last night, I'm like, I feel like just straight up dookie.
And Shepard's got a cold. They must have
cohorted.
Who got it from who? Is he better?
I got it from Lando.
Is Lando better?
I said, Lando, how long did it take you to get over your cold? Because he is better. He was like, 2 days to 2.5 days. Well, like he's my doctor.
Shepard still has it, so.
Shepard
Lando
is frequently cold.
Oh, he gets colds all the time.
He's a viral dude.
But Lando gave it, Shepard catches everything, but if he's getting over it, Lando gave it to Shepard. So Lando is patient zero.
Well, I think,
the cold originated with him.
This in a weird way at least parallels our conversation today because I think.
Trends spread like viruses?
Well, no, okay, that, but also our kids, I start to observe things about fashion choices, entertainment choices, life choices that my kids are making, and I'm like scratching my head and I'm realizing, man, the 90s are coming back. They may already be back.
Hold on to your seats.
Is that a good idea? How do we feel about it? I lived it, brother. I lived it, boy. Listen to me.
Bo, I lived it, Bo. This is how I talked when I was living it.
And you also taught, you were telling me that you taught that to Shepard, right?
No, so my nephews who still live in North Carolina who do not sound like rednecks at all, do have friends who do sound like rednecks and apparently still use the word Bo because they regularly go into these accents where they use the term Bo. And so he hung out with my nephews.
We should clarify what Bo is.
It's just a all-encompassing term for just another dude.
A friend.
Yeah.
Like a friendly male acquaintance.
Yeah, it's like dude.
It's like dude.
And
it's like bro.
In fact,
like the West Coast surfer
Shepard says it so often that I told you this, I haven't told the listeners. This is
like grade school stuff for us to call each other Bo.
So I went to a couple of weeks ago, like when Shepard was starting school, I went to this like orientation thing in his classroom. You've already given me the cold. Look at my throat is already closing up.
It happens.
This is psychosomatic.
Yes, of course. It's you. Of course it is.
Oh man, you're too close to me. Just speak that way. Speak in a way that doesn't propel a lot out of your mouth. Speak in a quiet way, like that way. If you could just kind of keep the germs.
Do you want me to speak while inhaling?
Yes, do the whole podcast.
I will do the whole podcast
while inhaling.
While inhaling. Oh, that's not good. Now I'm
coughing. Oh gosh, it backfired.
If you want to hear more of that bit, all you need to do is watch the episode of Good Mythical Morning where
you got the bee
I got the bee beard.
Yeah, you can talk to the bees. Nothing wrong with that. The only thing is they don't like the carbon dioxide in your breath.
Talk without using air. That's tough, Rob. That's the thing. Can you do that?
Breathe in and talk this way.
But sucking in. You sound weird, but you can talk while sucking in. All beekeepers should be able to breathe in and talk at the same time.
That's my favorite part of that video.
They're backwards talking. I'm not even gonna do it.
Is the improvisational backwards speaking because we just got such a kick out of that because we didn't know, we had never done it.
It was a moment of pure
invention,
unadulterated discovery. So Shepard
but I am gonna do it the rest of this podcast.
You're gonna make yourself sicker, man. You're sucking in more stuff from the world.
I could be in the next Marvel movie as like a villain. I mean, I know you auditioned for one and all that jazz.
I know the woman in charge of that.
When I go in for an audition, I'm just gonna speak like this.
And the funny thing is, you have to kind of explain. The cool thing about that is I'm sucking in the whole time. I know that it may not be so evident to you when you listen to me.
I don't think that helps any sort of audition.
No.
To have to explain
if you get close,
physics
you can actually feel
the biology of
the negative pressure of my voice. Okay, so
don't get too close, you'll get sucked into my gullet.
I'm still on a tangent about Shepard, so you can't go on another tangent within the tangent because we got to get back to the 90s.
Because we have a whole list of things from the 90s that we're gonna decide individually if they should be brought back. And you might disagree.
I'm not going to continue without finishing the story.
Please, I don't want you to.
So he wrote this thing, he was supposed to fill out this thing that he like writes a note to the parents. So when the parents come to the orientation that he was not present for, you can like sit down at his desk and read this thing that he wrote the parents.
Okay.
Us being the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And in this little blank sheet of paper, it said, hey mom and dad, Bo.
How do you spell it?
B-O. And he was like, Bo, I don't know what we're supposed to be doing right now, Bo. But kind of seems like a waste of time to me, Bo. But Bo, just as long as you read this, Bo, and he just went on and just kept using Bo, and then he called himself Shep Bo as like his sign off.
It sounds like something we would have written in each other's yearbooks.
Exactly. I was like, this is so reminiscent of the way that we would have decided to do something. And I never really, I didn't send that stuff to my parents. I would send it to you.
I would never cut up like that with my parents.
But
like,
it's a different generation, man.
My comedy
the 90s are back.
Was totally secret from my family. For the most part. They would get reports from like principals and other people in authority.
Yeah, I mean, and we had a good time in my family, but I couldn't call my dad Bo. No, that wouldn't have worked.
Bo knows.
Bo knows, that is a 90s thing.
Bo Jackson.
Bo knows baseball.
I did have those cross trainers are Bo's.
Yeah, you have them now.
Crap, I totally forgot.
You rebought those.
I'm contributing to the resurgence of the 90s. Why? I think we'll need to get into that in a little bit, but where do you want to start?
Well, I've known that it's been I've known that it's going to happen, and I've seen little, pieces of evidence here and there that it's happening. You can tell by the tone of my voice that I'm not super excited about this. We'll get into the psychology of that, but the moment that really hit home for me was about a year ago. I am wearing a hoodie that you have seen if you have watched many episodes of Good Mythical Morning.
What color is it?
It is a navy hoodie that I have. It's like a tight fitting hoodie from the company Publish, and
okay, whatever.
And it's like a cool brand.
Okay.
And I have worn it a bunch. We'll probably show. We can cut if you're watching. We'll cut to a picture of it right now. Here it is. But anyway, I've always thought you look pretty good in that hoodie, Rhett. As I step outside of myself and observe myself, and that's why I've worn it often. So I come downstairs with this hoodie on, and Locke kind of looks at me and snickers. Now I've worn this hoodie in his presence before, but you gotta realize he's 14 now. He's
a freshman in high school.
He's
in the big leagues.
He's becoming a man. And he's like, Dad, why is your hoodie so tight? And I happened to notice that as he said this, he was wearing a hoodie.
Oh.
And his hoodie,
in sharp contrast,
was not tight. Was not tight at all. In fact, I don't believe that any part of the hoodie was actually in contact with his body. Whereas my hoodie was in full contact with every part of me.
You're saying that his hoodie operated
hovering
like a bounce house, like it's got like a blower hooked up to the back of it?
It was more like it was being magnetically repulsed from his body.
We're talking like a monorail system here.
Yeah, but I mean, kind of like a bounce house, inflated. I guess it must have been touching him in certain places like the shoulders. It has to drape from something. But if you could see like points of contact.
What was your response?
I just said, I was like, this hoodie's cool, man.
In the most defensive tone ever.
And in that moment, I realized.
You've lost.
I was wrong. I knew I was wrong. I was like, as I was saying that, I was like, oh, I have become a dad. Oh. And I am a dad, have been a dad for quite some time.
It's funny that you've had children for 13 years.
The moment I became that's when I knew I was a dad.
Was then.
14 years in.
Yeah, 14.
But because I assume that you think the same way. We tend to think of ourselves as being somewhat impervious to becoming the dad. Like, you know, I mean, I because we do what we do for a living, we dress in ways that are more, I don't want to use the term boyish, but I could say more youthful.
Trendy.
Than maybe other dads that are
trendy.
Our kids' friends' dads.
Our sense of style is not defined. It's still something that we define. It's not something that a lot of people, when they get to be dad age or whatever, they've moved on in their life. They're wearing the clothes that they have for the most part.
And it's not about style anymore.
It's not about style, or they're not on the street, man. They're not hopping down the street. They're in a cubicle or some other legitimate environment
right, and
that we are not in.
They go straight from their homes to the cubicle and never get on the street at all.
Right.
They teleport directly to the cubicles.
Like I like to picture us still on the street. Sure, we're 40, but we're out.
Not for long.
We're out trotting around on the street. I see like hopscotch on the street and I'm like, I'm gonna take a second and do this hopscotch. Like that's how I see myself. I'm a guy.
Street stuff.
I'm a guy who'll just get into street stuff like hopping on one leg in public hopscotch.
When was the last time you saw hopscotch on the sidewalk?
Or like
that doesn't happen in this town.
Or like if a hydrant
okay, now
bursts,
you're talking.
I'm gonna go for a swim.
I've never seen.
I'm gonna go for an impromptu swim.
I've never seen.
But I like to think of myself
that
as that type of vibe, man.
Yeah.
I'm a 40-year-old trapped in I'm like a streetwalker, man.
But have you not also
I think I misused
thought
that term, but
yeah, I just decided to move beyond it.
I'm a street swimmer.
Street swimmer.
Hopscotcher.
Have you not also thought
a trendy daddy
that at some point you can't keep holding on to this thread? You know what I'm saying? Like at some point you're gonna have to quit trying to be relevant and then you go into some sort of now I'm old man cool. There's a transition and when he said that thing about my hoodie, I was like, is this the first signal that I need to begin transitioning into just old man cool?
Hell no, you need to try harder, man. That's my thing.
No, but at some point it becomes ridiculous.
Well,
and I believe that for me, I believe that the next 10 years of my life, my 40s will be, when I'm 50, I'm gonna be like Jeff Goldblum. You just wait. Yes. When I'm 50, he's still incredibly cool, but he's not trendy. He's not, he wouldn't
wear a Gucci tracksuit?
No, he's not gonna wear a Gucci tracksuit.
I don't know.
And I don't think he would wear, I don't think he would wear a hoodie at all.
I think he would wear it for comedic effect, and we might very well do that too. I totally relate to this. Last night, I was actually wearing this shirt. Listen, I'm gonna admit it. I left the office yesterday, and for some confluence of circumstances, I changed my shirt right before I left to get off my back, and I put this one on. I get home, I get in my pajamas because I feel like crap. Mm-hmm. And then I get up this morning, I'm like, I gotta put on something else, put this shirt back on, because I've only worn it for literally 2.5 hours.
You're gonna be sick longer. You put on a sick shirt? Oh gosh, yeah, that's bad. I don't know if that's science.
But it's so comfortable. I will describe this shirt. It is a gray sweatshirt with nothing printed on it, and lo and behold, no sleeves. Well, no, there are sleeves.
Yeah, well,
it has short sleeves.
Yeah. Depends on your definition of sleeve.
It has sleeves that go to my bicep, and then it's fringed as if it has been modified.
Mm-hmm. It was cut, but cut by a machine. You know what I'm saying?
And
on purpose.
As of, 2 weeks ago, I never would have worn this shirt. I have
What has happened in the past 2 weeks? You got sick? What happened?
Daniel bought this shirt for me.
Right.
You know, Daniel buys some clothes for us. Like, here's the thing. We both hate shopping so badly that here I am stepping into something that I thought I didn't want to talk about. That we got people who buy clothes for us sometimes. Not all of our clothes, but all right, it happens. And he like rolls in with this shirt, and I'm like, I cannot go into a public place and try on stuff because
you're a douche.
Not that anybody cares, but I'm just too big of a douche for that. I hate it so bad. I've got this tension in my life. Well, I'm gonna get to the tension later. For now, I just wanna say that
teaser.
I got this shirt. I'm wearing it last night. I have to take Lincoln to sign up for his basketball league. And we're walking in and I'm like, he gets out of the car first, he's walking ahead of me and I'm thinking about this shirt. Pretty self-conscious. And I'm like, Lincoln. He turns around. I'm like, what do you think of my shirt?
Oh, you asked him. Walked right into it.
And he was like, I could tell he was assessing how tight it was or if it said champion anywhere on it. You know, the indications of coolness in his mind, I guess. And he said, it's cool. Then he turned around and we kept walking. I was like, all right.
Okay,
I felt the opposite of you because he could have said, it's cool, but it doesn't work for you. You're too dad. But he didn't say that. So I do feel like our kids are certainly a catalyst in us considering this thing that is happening.
Well, I will say that I am surprised. So
I never would have worn this.
So here's how I would evaluate your approach.
Also, Stevie said she said that's a good shirt.
And Stevie knows what's cool.
I mean, she,
so
she's a beacon of
coolness. This is how
for me.
I've kind of understood your fashion instincts. You would be the one who would more readily embrace a trend. So like as pants continued to get skinnier and skinnier, you went to the skinny jeans before I did. However, there's a certain number of things in which you draw a very stark line. And I would have guessed that this would have been one of the places that you drew a line. Because it's like, but I think is happening, and this, again, I'm just evaluating as an outside observer, is that that the things that you have enjoyed and the trends that you've embraced, which kind of represent more of the 80s, which is the tighter stuff, that's not a sustainable thing. Just like my hoodie, it has to release. There's a contraction, release. Release is the correct term though, because it got tight and now it needs to release.
Oh, yeah.
Expansion and contraction, and so I think that this is expanding. The hoodies are expanding.
Yeah.
And you're doing something that's uncomfortable because
I would never wear that shirt that I saw Markiplier wearing like a few weeks ago. It was a sweatshirt. It was sleeveless, but they cut off the sleeves, but they didn't cut off the hood.
Yeah, it was a sleeveless hoodie.
That's where I'm now drawing the line. I can have half a sleeve, no hood, but I can't have a hood and no sleeve at all.
Is that trendy or is that just something Markiplier just did? I don't feel equipped to make that decision.
It's out there. He didn't make that sweatshirt. He didn't alter one. I don't think.
It's pretty easy to make one. All you gotta do is cut the sleeves off a hoodie.
It requires scissors. Yeah. I don't think he's allowed to have those.
Okay, so we're gonna get into
Marky Mark did that.
I feel like that.
You feel like that's a Marky Mark
I'm
thing.
sure that Marky Mark would have.
But again, Marky Mark is no longer.
It's Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, he's a different person.
Okay, so we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk a little bit about the psychology of trends and how they come back and the life cycle of trends. And then we're actually gonna, like Link said, go through some things that are of the 90s, that some of them may be back, some of them may be coming back, and our unadulterated opinions about those things. But first, we wanna let you know that you can not grab that amazing sweatshirt that Link is wearing. Maybe one day we'll have one of those in stock, but you can grab my t-shirt. What does it say?
Be your mythical best.
Be your mythical best. It is patterned after the Button Your Fly campaign, the 1990s
Oh.
Levi's Button Your Fly campaign. We did that with permission, right? No, we didn't.
Well, we don't have to.
So it is
with this particular.
And this is, again, we've done a few of these. Like we've got some 90s throwback
we got
shirts.
the Friends tee. I mean, the Chili Peppers tee. I don't. It's certainly from the 90s, but I don't consider it a.
It's not necessarily a 90s design, but yeah.
It is. I mean, I guess it technically is. Go to mythical.store if you're into that, or if you're not, we have lots of other stuff for those of you who are not prepared to go full 90s. I don't know if we showed our hand by selling merch that is 90s inspired, but I don't think we did.
We're trying to get ahead. We're trying to get ahead of things. You know, I don't know.
Thank you for supporting it.
Judge it for yourself. Okay. Now, what would you have said? So there's some articles that talked about the life cycle of a trend and the resurgence of a trend. What would you, just before having looked at any of this information, what would you have said how long it takes for something to come back?
Well, when we were in college, like freshman year of college for us was 97.
96.
We were
96, 97, yeah.
We were into like vintage clothes from the 70s.
Bell bottoms.
So that's 20, I mean, that's about 20 years actually. So I think that's how I feel, that's how I relate to what's happening is I got my nanny to alter my pants to look like bell bottoms. Now we were in a band.
She altered my pants to look like bell bottoms.
And she altered yours because when you're in a band, you just have all one of my favorite parts about being in the band was the freedom associated with fashion expression.
You didn't have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
You've got bleached hair, you've got bell bottoms.
I'm on stage.
Why?
I'm a performer.
Wax Paper Dogs with a Z, you haven't heard of us?
I'm not just a student. I'm a performer.
Right.
Hello.
I'm not just a normal person. I couldn't do this if I was.
So we would go to the thrift store, and again, I don't think we went to the thrift store looking for those things, but it also happened that those things were there. We would also buy collar, and that doesn't necessarily have to line up. We could say we thought it'd be cool to be in the 70s, but people have returned crap 20 years later. They finally were cleaning out their house or their parents' house or however it works. And I actually got a lot of stuff from my papa's closet, like sweaters and stuff like that. So it was a little nebulous, but it's nothing you could get off a rack that's centered on the 70s. So to answer your question.
You would have said about 20 years.
I would have said that, yeah.
Well, I actually think that most of the opinion out there is that it's between 20 and 30 and actually kind of pushing into 30. And I actually believe that still is true. If you think about when it was cool for us to wear, and again, we were wearing like the ridiculous bell bottoms, but like people were wearing like boot cut jeans was sort of the way that the trend of bell bottoms came back into jeans in the late 90s and early 2000s was boot cut. It wasn't bell bottoms necessarily. I mean, my wife had some like legitimate bell bottoms, but everybody had boot cut jeans. Everybody who was anybody had boot cut jeans.
Right.
But that was actually, like bell bottoms were they were starting to come in the late 60s.
Right.
Early 70s.
So you could argue
they were
that it's closer to
phasing
30.
out. So, and actually, so in this article from a website, thepatterning.com, I hadn't heard of that before, from a guy named Patrick Metzger. He calls it the 30-year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to not just talk about clothes, but talking about media and specifically film remakes. But he thinks it takes about 30 years for a critical mass of consumers, like when you're young and you're a consumer of culture, to then become the creator of the products that are being consumed. And so on average, it takes about between 20 and 30 years for the critical mass to build so that you're beginning to put the stuff out there, you're in charge of what people are actually wearing.
And you're designing it. Or you're writing that screenplay.
You're taking cues from
your childhood.
Your childhood and your experience. Which kind of helps to explain.
Okay.
It kind of helps to explain Stranger Things. So you want to talk about something that is, a incredibly successful show that everybody knows about, that it's very rare to find somebody who says, I didn't like Stranger Things. Like everybody enjoyed it to some degree.
I have to assume that the Duffer Brothers, the creators of Stranger Things, were, as kids, watched E.T. and everything else that was referenced in.
Well, okay, so this is, according to this guy, Patrick, this is a list of things sort of referenced and pulled on and put on screen in Stranger Things. Like
are there spoiler
influences.
alerts? Because I'm sorry to admit, for some reason I'm not caught up on season 2.
No. I'm not gonna talk about anything specific to Stranger Things.
My whole family watched it in 2 days and I missed it.
But this is just a list, and I'm gonna, and the time frame is actually gonna go from 42 years to 30 years. But okay, so Dungeons and Dragons tabletop game, which came out in '74, that's 42 years ago.
But was still ubiquitous.
But it actually reached,
ago.
Popularity in the late '70s, early '80s. So it's really closer to 30 years. These are just different movies, and we're not gonna go into analyzing this. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 77, Alien, 79, E.T., 82, The Thing, 82, Poltergeist, 82, Firestarter, 84, Nightmare on Elm Street, 84, Explorers, 85. I'm sorry, I don't know what Explorers is.
Ethan Hawke film.
Okay, Ethan Hawke, okay. The Goonies, 85, and Stand By Me, 86.
I love Ethan Hawke, man. I'd go back and watch that just because I love that guy.
They build a spaceship and they go in their backyard and then they go to outer space.
They built a spaceship. Well, don't spoil it. They built a spaceship in their backyard and they go to outer space.
Then
they all die.
Yeah,
I don't know what happens.
So the Duffer Brothers are enjoying all this stuff, obviously.
And now they're in a position to say, hey, I can write something. And the fascinating thing is that the way that our kids enjoyed Stranger Things without knowing any of the references, I think that's a testimony to how well made it was, that you don't have to know those things. You don't have to be, 40 or however old they are.
And again, that's the 80s. So
but it's also happening with the 90s.
We are in the transition, right? There's no science to this. There's all kinds of reasons why they happen, but we're kind of in that point where, and I think about the way that I think about it as I'm kind of a child of the 80s and the 90s, because that my childhood and like adolescence sort of comprises the 80s and 90s. So when I think about the 80s and the 80s fashion and the pieces of 80s fashion that I've kind of embraced, the easiest thing that was kind of an extreme thing that I would have never anticipated 12, 13 years ago, skinny jeans, right? We've already talked about it.
Yeah, but me, t-shirts and like a members only jacket. Like I owned a members only jacket since college. I bought the one that I still have, that baby blue jacket, at that thrift store, the one thrift store behind the Bojangles that we'd always go to. You remember that one? We got everything from that one thrift store.
Well, the reason I use you're right about the jacket, but I'm specifically kind of zeroing in on the skinny jeans because it's first of all, it's still kind of polarizing. There are people who definitely did not come along with us along that, and we even to this day, we still get people making fun of us wearing skinny jeans. It's a little old at this point, but
I don't do. I don't wear them anymore.
You don't wear.
I wear these joggers, man, just for comfort.
Well, yeah, but
I guess the jeans that I do wear.
But if you did have to wear, they would still be on the skinnier side, but
they're not the women's jeans that I wore in college.
We
by senior year in college.
Got to some places where it was basically like leggings, right?
Yeah.
But those are beginning to.
There's a lot of security in that.
They're beginning to expand, and nobody at like our kids' school, a kid would come to school in skinny jeans right now.
But they're not wearing. They can wear big pants, but what they're wearing are these warm-ups.
Yeah, they're wearing sports clothing.
They're wearing warm-up pants, but then they're like have Gucci-esque designs on them, because there are Gucci tracksuits that are $1,500 that then our kids are wearing the emulated cheaper versions of those, and more power to them, because it looks like they're walking around in pajamas, but they're so comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to get in on that just because of the comfort zone. But
That is not why they're wearing it though.
It is not, it's just cool. And it's so influenced by hip hop culture, which is it's pop culture now. And you think about
which was kind of the case in the 90s.
In the 90s, yeah, I mean, well, there were different pockets, but the way that you would be inspired from a fashion standpoint was through music videos and movies. Mm-hmm. And music videos, that happened so much quicker that it started to dictate what you would wear. And I see what's coming back, even though, I mean, there was grunge, there was all types of looks, but the hip hop look of the 90s is the one that's coming back so strong. You've got tracksuits, you've got oversized clothes like the hoodies, you've got name brands like, I don't know if technically Champion is was a hip hop brand in the 90s. I actually never thought of it that way.
I don't know if it did become that.
But I feel like that the way that
brand.
Champion is coming back now, it's oversized hoodies and bold colors, things that are very hip hop 90s.
Prominent logos. So that's another thing that's coming back is the bigger and the more obvious, more prominent that the logo is, the better. And so, I mean, like, yeah, the kids are wearing sweatpants with Champion written down the side. And there was a point at which it was like, that became taboo. It was like, yeah, no, I don't wanna advertise so boldly what it is I'm wearing.
It was kind of gaudy, you know?
Yeah,
it's like too much. But you know what? The thing that I read, it mentioned Instagram culture and how that helps make sense of these real big logos.
Yeah.
It's like you can very quickly in a pic or just a story moment, you can understand how fashionable you can see the logo.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember is Tommy Hilfiger coming back? Because I remember that was the biggest brand for me when my mama would take me to Crabtree Mall. I'd look for that tiger looking logo, and some of those would be huge. But
that's how you knew you were wearing Tommy Hilfiger, because it said it.
The shirts would be crazy. Yeah, they say Tommy Hilfiger all over it and stuff, but I would just wear like the polo shirt, but it would be a Tommy Hilfiger insignia on it. But then we started wearing those button-ups that were like 4-panel button-ups that looked like they took 4 Tommy Hilfiger shirts that had no business being worn together. They sliced them like a tic-tac-toe, and then they repositioned them. So it's very blocky, like, you remember that, like you'd have plaid on your left shoulder and then you'd have like blue denim on your right shoulder and then it'd be like some green thing.
Yeah, so
down here.
Again, and back to the douchiness
I bet
of
you
this.
that's coming back.
Daniel, who helps us figure out what we're gonna wear because we don't want to shop, he suggests things, and there was a shirt that he put into my rotation that was a flannel shirt with denim
collar.
It was denim collar and denim pockets on a red flannel shirt, or the opposite. It was those two things combined, exactly what you're talking about. And I was very uncomfortable putting it on, okay? I was like, I am not comfortable with this at all. Like, this is not my style. It's so 90s, I hate it. And I wore it on the show, and let me tell you, y'all ain't ready for the 90s either, because all the comments were like, don't ever wear that shirt again, Rhett. Oh, that is so heinous.
But you were wearing some really bold patterns.
Yeah, but the bold patterns are an independent stream that is not really, bold blocky colors is very 90s, but bold patterns is something that sort of can find their way into any particular trend. But yeah, I like to take some risks when it comes to patterns. In colors too. I don't have like a color palette that I'm like, I know you have certain things colors you don't want to wear. I don't necessarily have that. So I took that chance, but then everybody hated it. And then when we were kind of going through and thinning out the wardrobe, I put that in the thin out pile. And then the next thing you know, Jenna is walking around here wearing it.
Is that right?
Yeah. I almost was like, you didn't ask me, but I did throw it away, so.
What?
I didn't throw it away. It was understood that whoever would wanted to wear it could wear it now.
Yeah, we put out a general Slack that said there's a pile of clothes if you want any of it, take it.
She liked that.
We actually did say you should take it and wear it. I've seen a number of my shirts that I culled walking around this office now, and I made up my mind, contrary to my overwhelming desire as Link to point these things out and have an awkward conversation about the shirt that you're wearing that was mine. I was like, Link, don't do it. Don't be Link.
Good, you should say that more often.
These are employees, these are teammates. Don't be Link in this situation. So I'm not gonna acknowledge that anybody's wearing a shirt that used to be mine.
I can't say that in a professional like counselor capacity. I would say, you know what, your new motto should be "Don't be Link," because I think that it should probably be all the Link that you can be. There seems to be a lot of wisdom in that "Don't be Link" motto.
Come on, as it relates to people wearing clothes that I threw on the floor.
Okay, but I feel a sense of regret about giving that shirt away because I wasn't ready. The audience wasn't ready.
Take it back.
But I'm
now, go out there and she's not wearing it. I bet you can just find it. Go to her house, go through all her drawers and find it.
I'm not gonna be Link. That's the thing you gotta understand. But before we go through these different trends that may or may not be coming back, I do honestly feel like my approach has been, okay, there's this train, there's a train, the trend train, and it's going by. And I have felt this, not just because we're in the business of being in front of people all the time, but also just a sense of pride and just wanting to seem cool.
Relevant.
I have, in my life, I have tried to be sensitive to the trends and kind of, is what I'm wearing cool and trendy?
You want to be informed by the trends, but not hopelessly cloying to seem too legit to quit.
But I want to ask the question, is there a point at which you quit trying to run along beside the train? Is it?
No, I'm too legit. Hold on,
but it has to happen. You're saying
I've put a lot of thought into this
lately.
You're
gonna be 80 years old and you're still gonna be like trying to be trendy? Are you gonna I think at some point you calcify and you you're on the train and you jump out with whatever you've got in your hands at the time and you live the rest of your life with that.
Jeff Goldblum,
whatever you had,
has not calcified. He has identified with his inner self.
He is on a new track. He's on a new track,
Fashion is an opportunity to express yourself. And if you're, I don't wanna wear anything I don't believe in, but I wanna wear things that push me to continue to express who I am.
Yeah, but Jeff Goldblum would not wear that plaid and denim shirt.
No, but he wouldn't calcify and not make any new choices.
He's on a new track, that's what I'm saying. It's a different train for old people.
But that's not,
cool old people. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's the same trend if you're on a train that's got a bunch of young people on it and you're the really old guy, eventually, I mean, some people can do that, but eventually they're like, all right, dude, get on the old people train.
It's interesting, all right, because filter that through what I've decided.
Okay.
Because I actually think by not changing, I had a bigger problem. So
by not changing.
I have decided.
What do you mean by not changing?
A few weeks ago, I decided that I was going to change my fashion sense. I was gonna change a key part of my wardrobe.
We didn't talk about this.
I decided that I was going to get rid of the graphic t-shirts. Well, I should say a certain subset of those. The logo / pop culture t-shirts, I'm done with it. I'm done with the t-shirts that are cute and that say something neat. That people will just comment online. I'll say it again. A pop culture reference or something that's cute.
Give me an example of one of your shirts that people would recognize that you're no longer wearing.
I made a big pile of them and I got rid of them and you can see people wearing them around the office. No, well, some are just like jokes. Like there was one that was like, it had a boy on it and he was exploding something and it said something about science.
You actually wore that on the show at some point?
And it was, I think I wore it once. I didn't love the colors of it, so I didn't wear it that much. But then there was one that had like Mario Brothers on it, even Star Wars. Like, I don't wanna wear properties like that. Now bands are different. I'll wear a band and I'll wear something that's artistic, like a cool design that might be repurposed from something else, or it maybe have designed specifically for the t-shirt. But I'm not gonna wear just a pop culture reference. Oh, look at that, it's
And what is,
it's Han Solo.
And what was the reason? Does it have to do with the 90s?
I just think, first of all, I knew that you just can't keep wearing the same things. I also thought, in a way similar to me changing my hairstyle years ago, was that it just seemed kind of boyish and cute. And I got kind of over it. So I think that's what went into it. An assumption that my fashion was gonna evolve, and I had a realization that should have happened maybe a year or two earlier. You see, it's, if you see like some old guys, like an old hippie guy who's wearing like a Zeppelin t-shirt, and he's wearing that shirt because he wore it since he was a Zeppelin fan, or potentially a roadie. He kind of looks like an old washed up Zeppelin roadie.
Okay.
I love him to death. But you can just tell he hasn't evolved. Like, I just want to continue to express myself. And I think even though I hate shopping, I like expressing myself. I like knowing that I might change my hairstyle again, or I might change what I wear. It's fun.
So I completely agree with you.
So I actually I would wear a Zeppelin t-shirt now because I really like Zeppelin.
And it's a band.
But I don't want, and it's a band, but I wouldn't want to wear it for 30 years straight.
Well, I think I don't think I'm saying something different, but not.
Yeah, you are.
It's not contradictory.
No.
I think it's unrelated to what you're saying. So I'm saying I still want to, I use the term calcify in jest. I'm not saying that I want to, first of all, I believe that is the wrong move, right? So to go with this train analogy, I feel like the thing that most people do is they get to a certain point, if they've tried to keep up with the trends, they get to a certain point, then they realize I'm too old for this, I've lost that sixth sense that I need to be able to just naturally do this, and I feel like I'm trying too hard, I'm out. And you take all the clothes that you currently have and you jump out of the train and you hit some rocks and you stand up and you live the rest of your life with these clothes. You're calcified.
And those people are probably totally fine. And we're not judging those people.
But I am not a proponent
But we're not those people.
I'm not talking about calcification. I am talking about continued innovation, just like you're talking about. But I'm saying that at some point, I got to get off of the train. And I don't want to necessarily come downstairs and I look like my 14-year-old. I don't want to come downstairs and I look like I'm about to play an NBA basketball game and I'm actually just going to Walmart. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you got under that warm-up? Just underwear. You know, I don't want to be that guy.
Right, you have to wear a uniform under your warm-up.
Right.
You're exactly right.
Is
that what you're saying?
Yeah, but if my son wants to wear something that looks like a warm-up and he's just wearing it because it's cool, that's great.
I'm not saying, I agree with that. I don't want to walk downstairs and look just like Lincoln, but I want to be informed by, I can be informed by what's trendy and then land on what I'm fine with, which incidentally means that I still have sleeves and no hood.
Yeah, okay. Here's another way to say it. You don't want to look like you're on a train chasing the current train.
Yes.
That's the worst thing. So tight hoodie apparently is like the caboose of the train. And you gotta let the caboose and all the people in the caboose go. Don't be one of those people. So if I'm gonna wear a hoodie, it needs to look like the kind of hoodie that's in style, not a hoodie that was in style 10 years ago.
You're gonna start, but I'm not gonna start wearing JNCOs. Like JNCOs haven't come back, and I had some JNCOs. Now, huge denim pants.
Giants.
Smokestack pants that, like, you know, multiple loved ones could crawl up in one leg of your pant and hide.
Now,
you know?
Incidentally, this year, 2018, they finally went out of business.
What?
I was reading about this.
At just the moment when they're about to come back?
Yeah, they could have just held on. In fact,
they could have been weeks away.
The article that I read said that they had spent the last 15 years not being profitable every single year.
Oh, really? Yeah, of course.
And so there were
with that much denim
and
that nobody's buying.
Look, here's the
Think about it. Each pair of pants you use to make a Jinko could clothe a town.
Here's what a Jinko
in regular Gap size jeans.
Here's what a Jinko exec told someone who was interviewing him. Eventually, you can only make pants so wide. That became our Achilles heel. They admitted it. They went as big as they could and then they reached the end.
I mean, it looked like you were wearing a skirt and listening to Korn with a K or with a C. By this point, either one goes.
Just pick up a piece of corn. Use it like a telephone.
So I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna wear Jinkos because even the joggers, like the fact that they give me this room not at the ankle. I actually hate the fact that there's no room at the ankle. You try to get them off your legs and then they get stuck at the ankle.
Yeah.
I've pulled a muscle trying to get my joggers off.
Yeah, the joggers are incredibly comfortable, and they're probably gonna be out of style if they're not already. Yeah. I don't know. The only reason I don't wear them is because I can't find. They're supposed to bunch up at the bottom, and that's part of it. They don't bunch up at the bottom because I'm too big. They look like capris. They look like big crotched capris. Hopefully they'll come back in. Pleats are gonna come back. They're probably already in. There's probably like famous people wearing pleated suits right now.
Go through the list, man, because I want to see what should come back, what shouldn't in our non-chasing the train opinion.
Okay, well Jinko jeans was the first thing on the list. I have, other than the comfort factor, which at some point they weren't comfortable anymore. It was just too much fabric and it was like a workout just carrying it around.
And in the rain, oh good God, it would be like they would soak up so much rain.
And they're out of business anyway.
You couldn't even see that you had on shoes. Like I had Jinkos that would cover the front toe of my shoe.
Yeah, it's like why have any
and then it would
any
get
pride
caught.
in your shoes?
I would literally step not only on the back of the Jinkos, but I would step on the front of them. And you're walking to class, this is college, and like tripping over your britches.
I bet you it was the shoe lobby that made Jinko go under.
Right.
They're just covering us up.
Track the money.
Cross colors.
Cross colors is
I never wore it.
Is very. This is a 90s hip hop thing. Very blocky patterns, bold colors. Again, I think going from 30 to 20 in terms of like the cycle of things, fashion repeating, I have to think that the internet has accelerated this along with every single thing else because you don't just look at the music videos, which you still do, but you look at their Instagram. You look at what they're wearing today, and then a week from now, you can track a trend so much quicker. I think, by the way, that's why things are coming back so much quicker. So you don't have to just watch In Living Color to start to get an aesthetic for talking your mom into buying a cross color shirt for you.
Well, without a doubt, this basically clothing that is informed by hip hop is gonna come back, is coming back. And I was talking to Locke about, because he listens to
Juice
WRLD,
WRLD.
a lot of rap, and he also supplements it with some other things. He listens to some stuff that we listen to like as a family, whether that be like Jason Isbell or Sturgill Simpson. Like sometimes we'll go and do like Jesse will start playing like 90s indie rock kind of stuff. But I was asking him, I was like, what do your friends listen to? He's like, rap. He's like, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Everyone is listening.
Oh yeah.
To rap, and like almost exclusively. And there's absolutely no doubt that it's just gonna continue to influence their fashion.
But if you listen to the first, I actually don't know, is it Haim or Haim. How do you say their name? Haim. I've listened to them. I know what they sound like. I like them, but I don't know how to say their name. But I told Christy, I was like, listen to the ubiquitous Wilson Phillips album, and then back to back listen to that Haim album, not the one I think the current one. Maybe it was the previous one. Maybe both.
One more day, things will go your way. So just know that I want you back.
It's the same thing. Exactly. It's amazing. And it's awesome.
I had not listened to them.
We put on Wilson Phillips radio. You know, you can say just play anything that's like of that genre. Man, we brought up some things that we never thought we'd listen to again. But it's coming back, man. Even the Bruno Mars album, like the whole B-side of that is.
It's like Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yes.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah, I played it for you that day. I was like, I can't believe this. Listen to it. It's like poison. I mean, the drum machines and the melodies and everything. And he made a bold choice, and I thought it was, I thought it was too much. I poo-pooed it. He's winning all these Grammys. Of course, who gives Grammys? A bunch of old farts. So let's move on.
Bucket hats.
Bucket hats. You're talking about like a fisherman hat?
Yeah.
Hip hop.
Hip hop.
Like
EPMD.
EPMD wore those all the time.
They're kind of like Jinko. They had to stop making albums when they didn't have any more business puns.
Well, I can tell you.
Look back at EPMD album titles and they're all about business. And then they just ran out. I was like, well, no more business puns. We can't make any more music.
I'm very particular about hats and what hats I'm willing to wear. I mean, I don't necessarily have a hat face. I don't think the bucket hat is gonna do anything for me. So for me personally.
Again, that's way out of our league. We just can't roll up in a party and wearing bucket hats and not get laughed at.
Reebok pumps. I had a pair of these.
Alex got a pair of Reebok pumps 2 years ago. He was sporting them around here, and first time I saw him I laughed, second time I saw him I talked about him, third time I liked him.
Takes 3 times. You gotta be exposed to pumps like, 3 times to like them.
And it's like, okay, he's doing it.
Did you ever have a pair?
No.
You've never felt the pump?
Never felt the pump.
You've never experienced pumping your own feet up?
I've pumped other people's feet just out of curiosity.
I can't believe that you've never felt the pump on your own foot.
Well,
I mean, it is one of the best feelings I had in the 90s.
So do you want these you'll wear these?
I gotta tell you.
Till then, baby, do you wanna turn them and let you cry?
They had 2 kinds of pumps. They had the cheaper pumps, which just had the tongues that would pump up, and then the more expensive pumps, somehow they got the air into the back of the shoe as well.
Bladder system.
So you felt, it's like being pumped from all sides.
So you're saying yes to this one. I can see you wearing pumps.
You should, hey, find out what size Alex wears.
You wear Jordans. I can't wear Jordans because that's what you do. Can I get in on the pumps?
It's not, well, you wear Vans.
Well, I ain't got to ask you. I'm getting some pumps.
Here's the thing, it's not about you
Maybe I'll buy Alex
wearing the pumps, it's about you feeling the pump. The only thing, at this point, I'm not even thinking about trends at this point. I'm just thinking about how good the pump felt and can't believe that you never felt it.
Talk about shoes, flops, those like soccer flops with socks. I actually have a pair of those
Adidas. Like Sambas?
Adidas sandals, where it's just the one big 3 stripe that goes over the top of your foot.
Slides.
The slides.
It's like flops, what are you talking about?
Slides, they don't flop, they slide, you're right. I got a pair of those.
You got a pair now?
Yeah, they're white with green stripes, and I've worn them to Ralph's a couple of times.
But
I do not wear them with socks.
I slid right out of them.
I can't do that.
I sweat too much if I don't wear socks, and then if I wear socks, I slide right out.
What else you got?
Crystal Pepsi, it's a beverage.
That ain't coming back. I think they tried that. It didn't work.
Overalls. I never personally owned a pair. I had like 3 I did.
It's really hard for a guy.
Post-toddler, I never had a pair.
I think it came back for girls.
My wife has a pair of overalls.
Yeah.
And has had a pair of overalls.
And you know what? It's great. It's fine. It's good.
It's real good.
Well, yeah, it's real good. What? I wasn't trying to. It's also weird if I'm like, oh yeah, it's real good. What do you want me to say? It's fine, you know, it's.
You want to talk more about my wife's
I
overalls?
I want some overalls that pump. So they
Reebok
feel,
pump overalls.
I'm gonna miss my tight fitting jeans. I want pants that feel tight but then look loose.
I don't know, but where's the pump? Where's the bladder?
Everywhere.
The pump's in the strap. You don't, here's the thing, you don't cinch it up, you pump the strap and that's how it cinches. Reebok pump overalls, we'll bring them back. Fanny packs.
Fanny packs are back.
Yeah, you may have noticed that my son wore one
On vacation.
the entire time.
I mean, it's tempting. It's so utilitarian.
It's so functional that this is, again, when I think about the pump, I think about the feel of the pump. It should come back. When I think about the fanny pack, I think about how useful it is. And it's so much better.
I'll tell you right now, I'll do it. It's gonna take me a while and it's gonna hurt, but it has to be the right one. It can't be too, look at my fanny pack colored. It has to look, it has to be subtle.
It goes over the shirt, right? Like if you got a shirt that's untucked, the fanny pack, is the fanny pack on the pants or is it on the shirt?
It's up to you.
Waist.
It's on the waist, yeah, but do you put your shirt over it? Because if the shirt goes over the fanny pack, I'm not in. I'm not in. Then now I got an unexplainable bulge.
Right.
It's a fanny pack. You know, I don't want an unexplainable bulge. I want explainable bulges.
To me, it's like, what's in it? What do I need that I would be happy to have on me?
Your phone. Here's the thing about putting a phone in a fanny pack.
Mints.
Keys, you don't get the ghost buzz anymore. You don't actually sit on it and mess your back up.
But there's also like a hiking contingent that kind of brought back the fanny pack for their purposes, maybe 5 years ago, maybe
the hiking
more.
contingency and their purposes.
So I might get like more of like a granola fanny pack. I don't think so though.
Maybe we should sell a fanny pack. We should look into that. We already talked about cross colors, but we've got Champion, Fila, Tommy Hilfiger, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, just clothing brands that were hip hop sort of inspired and are back because of hip hop. They're already back. We can't even have a say in this, but I don't think
it's what was hip culture is now hip hop culture is now mainstream culture. So when we were kids, I really liked hip hop, but I couldn't dress like a rapper. I mean,
yeah, I didn't get on that train in the 90s and I don't think I'm gonna get on it now.
But our kids can dress close to what rappers dress like because that's just culture. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think I'm gonna go there in terms of I feel like it's gonna look like I'm trying too hard if I do that.
Well, if you're wearing these name brands,
if I have a Gucci
it's pricey,
tracksuit, even if I have a knockoff Gucci tracksuit, I'm not gonna do that. Something that we did take part in, especially you, Umbros and Kappa.
Soccer shorts. I was a soccer man, so I wore the soccer shorts.
And not just for practice. I mean, and I'm assuming this was ubiquitous around the country, but people wore Umbros to school. It was like, I'm wearing Umbros to school today.
Yeah.
I'm wearing these things that I could be ready to play soccer at any point, but I'm just doing math.
And they were short and wide. And at Buies Creek Elementary School, which went up to 8th grade for us, the teachers called us all into like a student-wide meeting, and they had an orientation where they said, boys, if you're gonna wear these Umbros, you don't need to let your junk flop around.
You don't need to wear boxers and Umbros together.
Because literally teachers were saying that they were catching glimpses of stuff through the open legs of Umbros that they didn't get paid enough to see.
Right, they're sitting there trying to teach us the counties of North Carolina, and then they got a couple of 13-year-old balls hanging out.
Yeah, close your legs, son.
That'll distract you
But
from Pasquotank.
That was an awkward school assembly.
Yeah, and I didn't wear Umbros because I was 11 feet tall. You know, it's like at some point I was like, I'm not gonna go with that trend.
Remember the other school assembly where they had to address the fact that guys are going around and hitting each other in the balls, and Mr. Futrell had to like explain anatomically how bad it was to hit someone unsuspectingly in the balls. Boy, middle school, man.
I didn't take part in that trend. Circle glasses. Now, I'm not gonna take part in this. I don't wear glasses, but your glasses have evolved over the years. Would you evolve them into just straight up circles?
We talking like
John Lennon.
But
like people
that's
ended
70s.
up. Yeah, I know, but
like Dwayne Wayne
yeah,
without
70s,
the
90s
flip ups.
Snow.
The rapper Snow.
Informa. No, I mean.
Colored too.
Yeah, they were colored a little bit. I mean, it'll happen. Sunglasses
Are you on board for it?
Sunglasses change so much so quickly that people just buy them. So I actually think that's a way that, it's an easy way for people to feel like they're doing something cool. Like normal people who've left the train and calcified, as you say, they still try to buy cool sunglasses. Sunglasses are always gonna change, and it's gonna happen.
And when was the last time you went sunglass shopping and thought, everything's basically the same now? It's some version of
Ray-Bans?
What do you call what you have on right now? What's the style of glasses? That like the 50s
chunky. They're like
that
chunky.
go out at the it's either aviators or those.
Horn rim.
Horn rim.
Like a horn rim?
And it's some version of that. So the circle is just sitting there waiting, and triangles too. Triangles are coming back. Okay, some entertainment. Double Dare is back.
Okay, you get over here, grab the flag, pass it over there.
Double Dare's back. I mean, they got Mark Summers still doing it, I'm told, and Liza Koshy. When Liza Koshy was in here, we asked her about it. I have not watched it, but I'm sure she's great. And more power to him, I'm glad it's back.
But you haven't watched it, so you can't, we can't really evaluate it, but we know we like Liza. So, something I have watched, Full House. And now Fuller House. And I think, I heard you saying this earlier, and I don't know if they talked about it or if it's just independent. My kids, especially Shepard, he watches old Full House reruns.
Oh, really?
All the time, and he started watching Fuller House just by himself.
Lando watches Fuller House by himself. He has no clue what's going on.
How did he find it? Like, what do you think?
I think Lily actually had watched some of it because Christy said, Lily, I want to show you this. I watched this as a kid. So it was like a cross-generational thing, which is what they're after. But then Lando just kind of started liking it. And then he watches it on his own.
Well, this actually opens up a bigger conversation about multicam comedies. So multicam comedies were dying the death that they deserved to die, in my opinion. But they did, just like Jinko jeans, they died and now they can't come back. Multicam actually continued through. And because they made it just under the wire, there's a resurgence in that's coming back. There's the couple that Netflix is actually producing multicam comedies, and I wouldn't be surprised if like YouTube Premium all of a sudden comes out with a multicam comedy. Because our kids are watching them. My 10-year-old son, your 8-year-old son, was in there by themselves.
It's simple. It's
uncompelled
it's
watching.
Theatrical. But when the 90s jam for us, I was not obsessed with anything in the world of comedy more than Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
And with Curb Your Enthusiasm coming back, it's basically a version of it has come back. Such a unique show that I'm so glad that it worked at a time when I don't think it made sense for it to work.
Yeah,
it kind of restored my faith in humanity.
But that
show was like the most successful sitcom.
But aesthetically, it's nothing like Seinfeld. Humor-wise, it's exactly like it. Aesthetically, it's a single cam. It's improv a lot of times. But yeah, I don't know. I can't do the multicam thing. I've tried. Thin eyebrows. So the only reason we're talking about this is because Rihanna was just on the cover of what? Was it
Vogue.
Vogue?
The fashion issue.
You know how I feel about Rihanna. I've made that very clear.
Quantify it though.
Well, I just have I have a soft spot for her, if you want to call it that. And
I'd call it the opposite.
yeah, I was gonna say hard spot, but then it just. Anyway, I really like Rihanna, and I think she's very attractive.
Okay. Well,
I
okay.
really.
I know I asked you to.
I mean,
quantify
not
it.
that that's the first thing I think about when I think about Rihanna. I think about her amazing body of work, and that's really the thing that I'm thinking about. Her body of work.
Anyway, on the cover of Vogue, she's got puny brows, as we called them. The thin pencil painted on eyebrows. I mean, they removed basically all of her eyebrows.
I can't believe you did it, Riri. I really can't. I mean, she still looks good, but
big
not
eyebrows
as good as she could.
never came all the way back. Remember that? Just a few years ago, it was like the big eyebrows are coming back.
When I look back
And I
at
love
the
it.
pictures of our wives during that phase, when it just got down to like, it wasn't even an eyebrow anymore. It was just a hint of an eyebrow. There was an eyebrow here at one point. Just want you to know where it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's in this general region where now I have a line.
And
it looks horrible.
There's many people who got rid of everything and then tattooed the line. But I guess that's kind of genius because then you could just let your hair grow over it. And now that it's coming back, it's like, yes. And then you just, I'm back.
Yeah, but a lot of people put the line in a different place from where the hair was.
Are you serious?
to get a constantly surprised look. So then if you
To
grow them
open up
back,
the face.
if you grow them back, you've got double eyebrows. You know, nobody wants to
I'd
double
buy-
it. It's like an eyebrow echo.
I'd buy a ticket to that.
You don't want that. So I really hope those don't come back.
Eyebrow brow.
Hair highlights on dudes. So we're talking about bleaching the hair, letting it grow out, frosted tips.
Talking some in-sync action?
You know you're gonna have highlights in the next. I'd say I give you six years.
I kind of think I already have a form of natural highlights,
You're
my friend.
You're gonna do something.
I am a trendsetter.
You're gonna do something intentional.
No, for my hair, I don't know what the ratio of gray to silver to dark brown my hair is going to continue to evolve, but I'm glad I made the choice and I'm sticking with that, man.
Okay, well here's something that I think there's a much better chance that you will legitimately do. Goatee. You had one before.
Oh yeah.
It'd be so easy for you to have one again.
I just feel like it's kind of, it's like a white zombie thing. If I had a goatee now, it would be salt and pepper, and it would be really long like a demon. And I feel like I'd be more human than human.
Think about it. I'm gonna pitch you on growing a goatee, okay? And I want you to really listen to me. I want you to take this completely seriously. I'm not doing this for entertainment purposes. I want you to grow a goatee in your own time, but not too far into the future. Here's why. Think about the mustache, right? Okay, so the mustache was something that signifies the 80s, and everyone who has grown a mustache in Los Angeles and elsewhere over the past 10 years has done it 100% ironically, right? Like anybody who's done it in this town has done it ironically. And now there are people who just wear a mustache and we think that they're cool. But the goatee is still too recent in our memory as something that's uncool and says 90s youth pastor that nobody wants to actually have one. Mm-hmm. But the next person to grow a goatee, ironically, and it's gonna be like if you grow a goatee and every other part of you is cool, but you got a goatee, so all the signals, that's how you know somebody with a mustache is doing it ironically.
Yeah.
All the signals from everywhere else, shoes all the way to the hair, are signaling this person understands and is making specific intentional fashion choices. That's a cool person. That's a cool, you could be the first. You could be the first to bring the goatee back.
Do you have to also be 24?
I don't think so. You grow a goatee with that haircut, with this half-cut sweatshirt. And I'm not talking Mr.
Were you laughing or crying?
I'm
there?
not talking a long one. I'm talking about as youth pastor as you could possibly do it.
I could do that in 4 days.
I know. You have nothing to lose, man.
Oh gosh. My love life is one thing I have to lose.
I'm just pitching you on the goatee.
I don't feel like the goatee goes with this ensemble. I don't feel like I'm choosing enough, I'm not making enough bold choices with everything else in order to.
Okay,
The sweatshirt helps, sweatshirt helps.
Okay.
It'd be a lot warmer around my mouth.
The last thing I'll say is that I feel like we're in this very, maybe I'm not speaking for you because you seem like you kind of know exactly what you want to do. I feel torn and I feel like the 90s seem uncool to me. I don't think that they were a distinctive period where like cool things were accomplished in fashion. And so every single thing that's coming back, with the exception of things that will just be more comfortable because they're baggier, I'm not excited about what I'm going to look like. And I feel like sooner rather than later, I'm gonna have to make the choice, am I pulling the lever, changing tracks, and getting on Jeff Goldblum's, going to Jeff Goldblum town? Should I wait until I'm 50 or should I start going there now? I don't know, I am really torn because I feel like I'm choosing between baggy blocked colored clothes or some sort of cool old man clothes. And I don't like either one of my choices, to be completely honest with you. I'd like to stick with tight hoodies and skinny jeans, but I know I can't do it because it's already past.
I'm open to inventing a look. Like we were a band, like a 2-person band that was of an alternative genre. And then I just want to make sure it's comfortable. I don't want to have to wear multiple pieces like an ensemble. So I'm game for this. And the goatee, you got me. I don't want to just wear like a 14-piece suit and a top hat every day though. I mean those harem pants
Who said that
I bought. We've talked about this before. This is like an Ear Biscuit earlier on. We were talking about how at that time, it's interesting to compare because we had a very similar conversation. I'm interested in how we've changed in the year or so since we talked about it. Because you're talking about, at the time you were talking about shaving your head and growing a big old beard and having baggy clothes.
Yeah, that's what I want to do in my heart.
You look like a guru. Remember that? We were talking about that.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
I'm just fighting, now we got a little bit more fight in us. We got some fashion fight in us.
Okay, next time you see us, Link will have a goatee. I'll be dressing like Jeff Goldblum. Everything's gonna be great. And we will be here. Again, continue to let us know what you think we should be watching on YouTube because we are going to let you know what we watched and what we think's good.
For part 2 of that. And let's keep this conversation going using #EarBiscuits. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Which fashion train should we be on?